back to PyroFalkon Plays Monster Rancher 4. In the last episode, the Akamura and I were discussing random bands, and apparently she wants to keep going with that topic, which is great, because Heckhound is about to squash a bunch of monsters with his giant asshole. Take it away, the Akamura.
Wow. Just like...
At least this is episode 70 now, instead of episode 69 before the asshole squashing.
Rimming.
The Akamura just made scoosh face because she couldn't handle it. You're so
God.
adorable.
Way to derail my, our continued topic with butt stuff. God. But anyway, back on topic. This train has gone down into the ravine.
We could talk about Sir Mix-a-Lot and just bring it right back around.
No, because I don't really like Sir Mix-a-Lot.
I don't either. Go ahead.
Rerailing the train. Another band I like is The Killers.
Oh, I love The Killers. The 3 songs I know from them anyway.
Oh, they're freaking... I like their whole sound. Consistent sound, diverse discography.
You can probably even tell me the 3 songs that I know.
Somebody told me... Probably...
Somebody told me? How does that go?
Somebody told me that you had a boyfriend who looked like a girlfriend that I had in February of last year. It's not confidential. I've got potential.
That was adorable. See, now I gotta put you on face cam. Anyway, yes, there's that one. There's When You Were Young.
When You Were Young.
And then I think there's a... Because I know that one from Rock Band. And I think there's a third one, but...
Mr. Brightside, maybe?
Give me a few bars of that one.
Jealousy, turning saints into the sea, churning through sick lullabies, choking on your alibi. But it's just the price I pay. Destiny is calling me. Open up my eager eyes, 'cause I'm Mr. Brightside.
I have not heard that one, but now I want to look
really?
it up and listen to it. Yes.
Oh, I have it.
Oh, we're probably gonna go on a music bit. This is the last episode of this recording session. We'll probably go on a music binge afterward, because now I'm kind of pumped for music.
Can I say that I like it when we share similar tastes in music? I get to share so many things with you.
Yay!
But it might be, what is that?
Share my book so I can do it the other way.
I can't quite remember what it's called. When there's nowhere else to run, is there room for one more sun? One more sun. I can't go to full notes.
Is that The Killers?
Can't hold on. Yes. If you can't hold on, hold on. Sorry, I'm not quite singing directly into the mic.
I'm doing hand signals so no one can understand that that's what I'm doing.
I know. I'm I'm sorry. I am a very visual reactionary person. What's it fucking called, though? Everyone's yelling the song title at me right now, probably.
Holy shit.
I'm sorry. It's episode 70. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. If you have come this far, congratulations. You get to hear this.
Did you just go South Park Canadian accent on everybody?
A little bit. Sorry. But, shit, is it not disintegration, that's cure.
I was gonna say, who are you just singing? The Killers? Because I sort of lost track of what the hell was going on.
I'm trying to find the song of theirs that you know.
Oh, maybe I only know 2.
No, that's the one where they have the refrain, I've got soul, but I'm not a soldier.
I don't know. I don't think it's that one either. I may only know 2 songs from them, honestly. Loza hits his goal. Heckhound hits his goal. Ankle still needs help. But yeah, I need to grab some. You know, it's the reason I think that I don't have a lot of experience with modern music. For the longest time, I wasn't exposed to it, and I have this weird situation in Pennsylvania where I spent my later elementary years. And at the time, my mom only listened to oldies, or what I would consider oldies. And my mom is unfortunately a stereotypical old person, because she's literally said to me that every song sounds the same nowadays and it's all garbage. And she's not talking about, like, the Biebs and Selena Gomez, if she's even a singer, and 1D and all them. She's talking about, like, Nirvana sounds like Nickelback kind of thing. And, like...
Sacrilege!
I hope my mom's playing it up, but it still comes to the point, like, it still comes from the fact that she just doesn't like modern music. She thinks it's all garbage. And, like, so when we were growing up, she only exposed me to music from the 50s and 60s, and that's about it. And I remember there was an old service, and I can't remember the name of it, and they went out of business like instantly. But they were iTunes before they were iTunes, because you know of mixtapes, right? Everyone has made fucking not you. You're not.
I didn't make mixtapes, but my parents had a lot of them.
Right. Well, I mean, you're too young for mixtapes. So, like, but there was the service where you could request a bunch of songs, and they would actually make a professional mixtape for you. It was a customized CD kind of thing, except it was a tape. And, you know, they went out of business probably because they couldn't afford it. But anyway, so she made a mixtape of, like, nothing but oldies, which is fine. I don't have a problem with oldie music, but I wasn't exposed to any of the other stuff because of that.
Yeah, my parents...
And so, like...
Sorry,
no, you're fine. So I even had a point where my best friend in Pennsylvania, who is still a very dear friend, which is awesome, his name's Aaron, he came over, and I think he played... Because I think either Nirvana had just happened, and, like, Smells Like Teen Spirit had just come out, or another rock song right around, not that Nirvana is exactly rock, but anyway, another rock or alt song right around that time. And he's like, he even said, like, let's listen to music. And I'm like, yeah. And he turns on the station, and it's a super popular, awesome alt song. And I'm like, what is this shit? And I made him turn it, because it was my house. He was my guest. But anyway, we changed the radio station to oldies, and I'm like, yeah, this is what I like, and whatever. But, like, as I've gotten older, I've realized that the 10, 11-year-old me was kind of a dipshit who didn't want to hear anything else, which is bad. And, you know, so I'm kind of glad. It's funny because I'm, like, rediscovering, or I am discovering music now that I should have discovered in the 90s. Now, I still have the opinion that, like, the Biebs and 1D are not all that great. But the thing is, pop music isn't what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Like, I like Nirvana, and I'm going to sound like a fucking hipster, but I like Nirvana's music before they really took off. I like a lot of bands from the 90s before they really took off. But I actually like a big... the oddest part of it is there are still bands from the 50s or 60s that I like. Like, I'm a big fan of Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah.
But I also love Nirvana and New World Revolution. You know, I like a huge range of music.
And, like,
so there aren't too many musics I don't like other than gangster rap, and even then I like it depending on what it is.
Yeah.
You know, or like I'm definitely not into thrash metal. Like, I've never heard a thrash metal song that I like ever. But I also don't like country, and yet there's a few songs of country that I like. So, you know, I have a pretty wide range of music that I enjoy.
Yeah, and I'm the same way, but, like, the one thing my parents weren't restrictive of when I was growing up is, like, musical genres.
That's good.
I was raised on 70s and 80s music. And some 90s.
Okay.
Like, we would go from, like, David Bowie to Alanis Morissette to Sarah McLachlan just on my dad's mix CDs.
That would be a fucking adventure on shuffle.
A lot of Kate Bush. Like,
I don't even know who Kate Bush is. Who's Kate Bush?
She's wonderful. I think she was, like, 70s or 80s. She had this duet with Peter Gabriel that I absolutely love.
Okay.
And
I like Peter Gabriel. Okay,
Yes.
you can stop
Peter
stabbing me in the
Gabriel.
ass, Vincent.
by a nautical mile is my favorite artist.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like, as much as I like Depeche Mode and all other bands, it's Peter Gabriel.
Really?
Yes. That man's voice sounds wonderful in any genre.
It's just automatically moistening your panties the instant you start the song.
Not moistening my panties, but it's like rubbing silk across my brain.
I like that. That's a very nice visual. That's
But, like-
actually a very lovely visual.
Like, Imogen Heap is the same way. I don't know if you've heard her.
No.
She's pretty good. But she's
Well-
limited to, like, an electronica sort of sound.
Okay, fair enough. That's the other thing, like, again, if you play me a song, especially a group's most famous song, then I will probably have heard it at some point, but that's ever all I hear, and it's not because I don't want to, but since my tastes don't really lie in music, like I'm not as big of an audiophile as a lot of people, like, music isn't as important to me as, say, video
Yeah.
games or sports.
Like, I like
is what it is.
because I can draw to music.
Yeah.
Form character profiles around playlists.
Oh yeah, and I do the same thing when, see, music actually works to elicit real emotions. Batista.
World's toughest mochi.
But like music elicits emotion in me. I mean, I know it elicits emotion in everybody. But like when I write, I use that to push myself into a certain mood. Because like an actor, when you're writing, you need to be in a certain mood. Like if you're happy-go-lucky and you're writing about a rape scene, it doesn't work and it's not going to come off very well.
Unless you're trying to make it come off as disturbing.
I mean, fair enough. Maybe that was a shitty example since I went super dark. But like, okay, for example, the current scene I'm writing in my third book is two of the main characters sitting at the top of a waterfall looking at this kind of romantic scene down below. Because it's a romantic scene, you know, I'm listening to kind of what I call a downer, even if it's not exactly a downer, but just a song that's kind of slow or melancholy with a lot of like acoustic guitars instead of electric guitars kind of thing. And then when but it's still like also a different range. Like when I did the famous dance scene, which nobody's ever fucking read apparently. When I wrote the famous dance scene that in my book, my second book, I did it to Lady in Red because I intentionally designed one of the characters to wear a red dress, and so the entire situation happens while I've got a Lady in Red blasting in my ears.
Yeah.
And it comes across better because it forces my mood to match what I'm trying to go for.
Like, there's this song I found that would be, like, really good for sampling for, like, an R&B track. It's very heavy in, like, bass and, like, just weird random noises. And it flows really well, which is why it's called Lullaby by Evil Needle. Go find that song. It's wonderful. But I heard that song, and, like, I have this character whose origin story is they're a transient. And I heard that song, and I just pictured, like, the first day he sets out away from his broken home, jumps on the first train he sees, and just, like, that song is playing, like, while he's, like, sitting in the back of, like, a cargo car on a train. Like, the wind's blowing through the cracks in the wood, and he's just closing his eyes and inhaling the night air. And it's just a very peaceful song and a very peaceful moment. And, like, that has made that image clearer in my head.
Oh, yeah. It's almost like making a soundtrack for the assumption that you're going to have a movie about whatever
Yes.
piece of, you know. That's how I approach it. That's why I also cast my book with real actors to try to figure out what they look like. Even though I figure I have a 0% chance of ever seeing a movie come out of my book, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, that's another reason I like going through Tumblr images, because like people will like post a picture of this lesser known model and to like spread awareness for them. And like I'll see it and I'll be like, hey, that looks exactly like X character.
Right.
And then I'll go through their like collection of shots and I'll like save some reference photos.
Makes sense. I need to start making some reference photos like of actors who match character descriptions for me. I don't do too many reference photos. I also don't read very much, which longtime fan and friend Crowbeak, like however it completely blows her mind when I say that I'm a writer who isn't much of a reader. But now that I've researched it, I am in the extreme minority, but I am not the only one, so I don't feel so bad.
Yeah, a lot
like
of people...
for whatever reason, I mean, whatever stories I get are usually from games. And I know that's probably bad or whatever, but it just is what it is. I don't read very much. I'm too busy writing.
Like, for me...
God, that sounded arrogant. That sounded way more arrogant than I intended it to sound.
I don't think so, but I also understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, no, because, I mean, I don't want to give the impression that I'm such a fucking good wordsmith that I don't need to hear other people, you know, because it's not that way. It's just... You're
focused on your art in a way that doesn't allow for you to have time to read.
Yes. And that's what it comes down to. Like, I am so focused with doing these Let's Play videos and writing that I really don't have time for a lot else. I don't even watch very many movies because I just don't.
Like, I want to do my comic eventually at some point, and I used to like read a lot of webcomics, and now I've like fallen off the wagon for that, but I'm spending all that time practicing bodies and getting better.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you know, whatevs. Because there's always time to go back and edit, too. Like, I was even talking to a guy who is a comic book artist himself, who works with me. And I mentioned that, like, the hardest thing I've had to do as a writer is to force myself to write something badly. Because a lot of writers... Like, I mean, every writer wants everything to be perfect right out of the fingertips. Not just writers, musical artists, whatever. But, like, obviously, that's almost never going to happen. That you're going to stumble upon the golden moment, but carry it for an entire fucking book or whatever. So, there's a lot of times where I'll have writer's block, and one of the most common things that people say for writer's block is to write a different scene. Like, you know, instead of writing the filler, write the super exciting climax, you know. But I can't do that. I have tried my ass off, and I cannot write non-linearly. I have to start at the beginning and go until the end.
Like, there's this group of writers I follow on Tumblr. Like, I say group, but they're all mostly unrelated to each other. But they post a lot of, like, low-spoon writing tips. Like, if you have a disability or, like, a mental syndrome or a mental illness even, that prevents you from writing as often as, like, a normal person could. Like, normal people are like, crank out 1,000 words a day.
Right.
It's not really possible if you have arthritis.
Right, exactly.
Or you have, like, writer's block, and most people don't have a solid, like, way, or, like a solid, tried and true, like, method to get rid of writer's block. But, like, a lot of these people write fan fiction, and I think they've kind of cracked the code.
Okay.
What you do is, on Tumblr, you'll find, like, a lot of, like, general writing prompts. Just like, this character and that character do this.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, I know what you mean about that. Like, one of my favorites that Crowbeak gave me, she was grilling me on characters, and she was giving me 1,000 random questions about it. And my favorite one she asked me is, how does X character eat an orange? And, like, that is one of the best questions I've been asked, because each of my characters would have a distinctive way of eating it. Like, my main character, the way I answered her for my main character, he would prefer to just dig in with his fingers and eat it as fast and efficiently as possible, but he's a little too self-aware and he would want to grab a knife and carefully cut the peel off and be as neat as possible, even though he doesn't really want to. Just that would be his personality. So,
Yeah, just
yes,
like
I understand that. But what
little
I was
girl
saying was
bullying
that, like, so since I can't write linearly, I've had to force myself to write badly just to get past the point. Like, one of the lines I'm most embarrassed about, the group of heroes, the Fellowship, sure, why not, are going through this city, which is essentially like Las Vegas, and for whatever reason, I didn't have the ability that afternoon to write about a neon beautiful city. Like, I just didn't have any descriptors, and nothing I was writing could work. So I literally wrote, "They walked through the city," which is a fucking terrible sentence. It's a horrible sentence when you're trying to set a stage. But I needed to write, "They walked through the city," just so I could fucking move on, and I'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
That's what editing is for. So, like, that's the thing that has been really... Why are we even on this topic? This is great. I like not knowing why the hell we got on the topics.
Me too.
But unfortunately, my time is over, and I really need to get off of here so I can edit an episode and get it up tomorrow. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to shelve all writing talk, but maybe we'll pick this up next time I pick up the series, which will probably be in a week. Stay tuned for the channel. There will probably be some City Skyline tomorrow if you're watching this semi-live when it comes out. Hell, if you're watching the archive, fuck it. Just go on to the next video on the playlist. But otherwise, do you have any parting words?
Rewinding to our beginning topic. I think I found the song by The Killers that you might know, and like the title is All These Things That I've Done. But
okay.
I'll play it for you once we close.
Yeah, let's not get hit by copyright IDs. Or content IDs. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. We will see you tomorrow for another episode. And I'm gonna try to stop pinching my sciatic nerve because I'm an old man.
At least you're not talking about dog buttholes.
Oh, God. There's gonna be so many dog buttholes in the next episode.